there. I just wanted to share some thoughts I'm having right now on this topic of um, entrepreneurship, building a business, and staying resilient to guide this process. I think a big part of resilience that I've been applying lately is to just like take actions out of curiosity and and I don't want to say humility. I think there's a better word than that. I just can't think of it right now. But out of the perspective of acknowledging my trepidation and being like, I want support. I want to learn from people. I want to be in a community so I don't feel like I'm doing everything by myself. Something to give me that momentum, that energy, that reassurance, that being able to look at other people doing what they do and in their businesses, and um, these people I'm talking to, they have a dog walking businesses also. Sometimes dog training, but more dog walking. And I think it's important that if you have this kind of trepidation, like you want to do something, you have all the logical reasoning for why you need to have a business, and that's just how you want to enjoy your life and spend your lifetime and your energy in that constant learning process, um, that exploration process. I think it's important to just put yourself out there, asking for what you want, which is assistance. You want to pick people's brains. You want to take people out for coffee, tea, whatever. I don't drink coffee, but you want to and offer people, to do small activities in exchange, like take photos for their social media, or just ask them if there's something that they need help with that you can participate in, that's mutually beneficial, and just really to enjoy that community aspect, that give and take aspect that can be so healing, especially after a long time of isolation and fear of people and being around abusive dynamics. I think it's so important to restore this foundation within ourselves. I mean, the first foundation is the relationship we have with ourselves, being empathetic and gentle and understanding, yet still logical and goal-minded, but then after that next foundation of the healing of community, that's so beautiful. And I feel like that is, for me at least, that's the way that the development of my business is really, it's happening within, in my experience so far, when I have asked, do you know, when I have shown people like the quality of work that I do, and then asking like, do you have any people that you can refer me to who I can learn from? Like, I want to learn. You're in that learner's mindset, when you ask people, you start getting referred to different people, and then talking to them and realizing all these people need help. Like, all these people want help. All these people are kind of lonely in what they're doing, and they want that also. They want, like, these fellow business owners, they want that greater sense of community. They want that collaboration. They want, just a kind, helpful other person doing what they can. They want to give back. They've been given to, and they want to give back. You truly will start meeting people who want to help bring you into these environments where you can continue to learn, sharpen your best practices. Just say sharpen your best practices, and where you can really get in these environments where you can do cross referrals with people, and you can with fellow business owners, and you can feel really nurtured. And some of this I'm talking about is only theory for me still. It's just glimpses that I'm seeing from talking to people. And then other parts of it, it's what I've been experiencing. Some of it starting like 9 months ago when I just reached out to business owners in my area and was asking if they wanted to collaborate. And then other connections, they've happened more within the past couple months. And it's definitely, or not a couple months, just a month, and it's really encouraging to all these mindsets. A part of resilience is changing our narratives to be supportive for our goals, supportive of ourselves, just dropping these patterns of perfectionism and fixation on this narrative we used to see ourselves in, of like us being like having to play the role of the isolated, the alienated, the broken, the whatever that might be. And we can rewrite those narratives by it makes such a big difference to be in relationship with real people instead of just hearing people talk about it on the internet. Because a lot of the things that people are telling me, the people who are kind of giving me advice and letting me have insights into their businesses, a lot of these things are saying, like, I've heard it on the internet before, but it makes such a big difference when you are talking to a flesh and blood person saying this to you specifically, and they're wanting to encourage you personally, and they're wanting to they're wanting to collaborate with you and learn more about what you're doing and have that mutual support, and give you the blessing of being able to support them also and have it be something real. That's really beautiful and healing, and can go a long ways, I think, in helping support our resilience practices of changing the narratives we use to just parse out a storyline for who we are and what we're doing. And that, repetition of this, changing the mindset over time, it means that, and I've seen it happen, but for me it takes like, sometimes it takes like a year or two, other times it takes like 5 years, but to change like kind of more ingrained thought patterns and beliefs, like over time we will be in a different place in our lives, and we can only continue being optimistic about the future and knowing that all the things that we might judge ourselves sometimes as holding us back in some way or as being kind of liabilities, these qualities in us, being more cautious maybe, or being more reserved, or being more observant or suspicious, or just not in agreement with people around you, wanting, not in agreement maybe with things that people are saying that this is the way that they would go about doing things, or if they're trying to sell you on something or whatever. Our unique intuitive approaches, that's, well, I forgot what I was saying. I kind of went on a bunny trail a little bit, but yeah, that's really what will continue to change the way that we relate to ourselves and just see ourselves in the world. And that's what I was saying. Yeah, the things that we think will hold us back sometimes, these things will actually help us. Like, everybody has disadvantages or issues in their life, right? So the ways that you disagree with people or might be seen as liabilities or whatever, this could actually be working out for you. You're saving grace in a way that protects you from a hardship that other people have to endure because they just don't have that same perspective and insight. So you have to start looking at yourself not always as being in the student mode, not always being in the wrong mode, the one who is like, oh, I'm wrong, you're right, everybody else has a right and I always have a wrong, like I definitely have that ingrained in me, that has been like the default, like that's the role that I'm just supposed to play to everybody, that I'm always wrong and everybody's always right. Not to that extreme, but that definitely lives in me, that lives in a lot of people. And that tendency can be beautiful and provide safety in a lot of situations, but in other situations it doesn't. And so it's important to give ourselves more credit than we do, and to really honor that we do have really good judgment and we have really good taste. By taste, I mean like morality and values and intelligence to kind of recognize cause and effect and safety, things of that nature. We do really have this in us, and yeah, we're not perfect and we are growing and learning in ways, but we have to also acknowledge where we came from. Like everybody has their strengths and limitations, right? And we have to acknowledge our unique just qualities and characteristics, like what we came from that other people didn't have to deal with, and vice versa, but we have to not judge ourselves according to expectations for someone who, they've lived a totally different life than us, had a totally different set of experiences, opportunities, resources, all of this. And remember that we are perfect and beautiful for everything that has happened to us up until this point. Like a flower can only grow according to the environment that it's in, and it's important to realize that, once we gain a certain degree of understanding, we can see that we are also the gardener. We're not just a flower waiting on people around us, but we are also a gardener who is resourcefully using everything around us to as much as possible nurture ourselves. And most importantly, it's important to not judge ourselves, not fall into shame as a means of trying to change behavior, and to fall into optimism and feeling safe. Like everything's okay, it is safe to be alive, you are on your successful path. Like this is just what it looks like, the unfolding of it. You don't have to feel manic and super excited, your brain going a billion miles per minute connecting all the dots in order for you to have done a really good job and communicated really well. And the difference between how we sometimes feel and the results that are going to happen from what we're doing, those can be different. Like sometimes we can feel really good, but what we're doing isn't going to result in anything that we're wanting in our lives. And then other times we can be feeling really bad, but it's going to get us the results. Not really bad, but we can just not even really bad, but just feeling like it's just day-to-day life. I feel nervous, I feel insecure, I feel, my nervous system is unbalanced. I feel a little bit like, ooh, but like my neck hurts, my jaw hurts, whatever it is. We can be feeling all those things and still be on the perfect, correct, beautiful path that is unfolding directly for our goals. And I think it's so important to just always take the err on the side of being proud of yourself and being secure and feeling safe, because at least, depending on what stage you're at, that's always the best side to err on, rather than using shame and feeling really bad about yourself. you're always going to have better results if you start with feeling safe and calm, and then from there you can go into a more kind of refined perspective of, well, practically I do need to change this behavior because it's going to get more of the good results I want. But we can even make that process of change more pleasurable and more just more like feeling like it belongs to us, like we are driving the car, not like we are on some protocol that some generic person is supposed to apply in order to be like survive or be deemed worthy or not evil or acceptable or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to share some of these thoughts today about resilience and feeling, managing our own nervous system and our relationship to ourselves and life at large by using encouraging narratives. That's I think that's the most core component of resilience. I mean, other than, of course, food, water, and shelter, all that, but the ability to have optimistic narratives and to feel safe and to not feel like we have to be in agony or feel guilty in order to be a good person. That's crucial. This is so crucial. So I just wanted to pull a card real quick and ask, what is a narrative that can help? Let's go really broad here. What is a narrative that can help us to regulate our nervous systems during those times when we feel just really afraid of the future, afraid of the possibilities, worried about possible outcomes, possible negative things, all the worries, all the fears. What is an outcome that can really help regulate our nervous system and to feel empowered and optimistic despite the unknowns, despite the inevitable negative things that happen or conflicts that arise? What is a mindset that can help us to feel prepared, safe, like everything's gonna be okay, resilient? What is a mindset that can help us with this? Okay. So the Four of Cups, this to me is gratitude. It's always being like, well, yeah, I'm not feeling stable. You need to feel stable in order to be persistent and consistent in your things, your activities. I'm not feeling stable because I'm focused on the things I'm not grateful for. Like, that is what is dominating my perspective when I'm orienting my whole personality, my whole mental and emotional capacities towards. And it's like, other things also exist, other things also exist. Good things exist. And it's like, you can have communication trying to put towards you, like, look at this other cup, this full cup, this beauty, this pleasure, this gratitude, this stuff that'll make you personally feel good. Not think that you're a good person, or think, it'll make you feel good, feel safe, and I know how hard it can be to remember these things sometimes, to remember, oh, okay, yeah, there is this other good stuff over here that I need to be focusing on and taking joy in. And that's part of the reason that we can't be isolated and trying to do all this stuff, whether or not you are, networking with professionals in your line of business, to collaborate with and share information and share referrals and all of that. You also need to be having other things in your life that provide that sense of passion, that sense of intrigue, that sense of just silly, giddy excitement, and like just other people might think that it's vain or have criticisms against it or whatever, but you're like, no, it makes me feel happy, it makes me feel good, it makes me feel excited, it makes me feel nurtured, so that I can be persistent and consistent and present for the people that I love and that I'm providing services for. So yeah, I'd say maybe to think of it in kind of a fun, mischievous way, think of it as like, no, you have to be selfish. Like, you gotta be selfish to take pleasure in things. Because if you're not being selfish and taking pleasure in whatever your little hobbies and interests are, and like conversations with friends, and really owning what authentically makes you feel good and how you want to do things, if you're not just owning that and just like not just like letting bypass the things that don't really let you feel that excited emotion, if you're bypassing it, then what you're doing is not being grateful for the that the gifts, the blessings that are right in front of you, that are opportunities right in front of you. You only have to have the courage to be selfish and to be like, your pleasure matters, your excitement with being alive matters, your pride in yourself matters, your silly little like human interests, those things all matter. So yeah, I love that. Feeling like the opposite of selfishness is that positive. There might be a better word for it, but I like using selfish because it's like, reclaiming that word. It demonizes a lot of really good things, So I really love that, thinking about selfishness as being what allows us to be grateful and to, also to help other people, because when we're really moved by positive emotions, that is like the kind of energy that will help us really be recharged to help other people in the best spirits, and to, help other people feel more excited and recharged in their lives too, by sharing our passion with other people. So yeah, that is the little card. And thank you so much for listening, and I hope this is helpful for you in some kind of way. And your whatever your endeavors are with treating your life as a business, whatever stage you're at, your desires for entrepreneurship, or just more creative, freedom filled, nurturing, empowering, optimistic kind of life, always continue heeding your heart's desire towards those things, and knowing that things will continue to change for you. You just have to show up as best as you can in whatever season of life you're in, and to know that even if you do things in a spirit of, anger, or use shame against yourself, or whatever it is, know that you are setting yourself up, eventually providing those foundations on the bottom to set yourself up to be capable of the stages you want to get to beyond that. Like quitting smoking for me, that was more about shaming myself for being gross and dirty and stupid for I'm just being like really honest. I was stupid for spending money in that way, and you can look at it in a funny way like that, like just how crazy and like explicit it is to say those things, instead of understanding like why the reasons people smoke and all of that jazz. I did use shame against myself, humorless shame at the time, but that was a firm foundation I needed at that stage to be able to get to where I am now, 3 years later after quitting smoking. Anyway, talk soon. Take care. Bye.